Talk with Tyson Bryden. Come on for the ride. We'll take you inside. Non-stop rock talk. It's non-stop rock talk with Tyson Bryden. Come on for the ride. We'll take you inside.
Welcome to Nonstop Rock Talk. I am your host, Tyson Bryden. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Courtney Gains. Courtney, welcome. How are you doing, man?
Thank you. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I don't know if you're aware, but I'm up in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I'm starting to hear it now. Up in Toronto.
Do you hear in Toronto? Hey?
The Canadian.
There was a couple months ago, I did an interview, and someone was pointing out the little nuances in my language as I was speaking. Or, you know what? Maybe it wasn't an interview. It was actually, I was down in Pennsylvania, and they were joking about it. That's where it was. It was these little nuances of that you don't even realize you say.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because of you're a product of where you come from.
Sure.
So you can't really help it. That's just how you are.
Right?
Right.
That's right.
So.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't get insulted by it. I just laugh it off. I'm like, I don't care, man. It is what it is. As long as we're getting along and everybody's happy, we're good.
Exactly.
So, as I was reading your bio, there was mention of the movies you have been in. Of course, I was curious.
Of course, yeah.
I was curious. And Can't Buy Me Love, Back to the Future. Yeah. So as soon as I saw your picture, I knew exactly who I would be chatting with today.
Excellent.
And I have to admit, I was excited because I was more curious about you as a musician.
Right. Good.
Right.
Good.
So possibly you can start by giving a little history about how you became a musician, and was this something you had been doing all the way back then?
Right. So, I started doing both of acting and music right around the same time. I started taking lessons at like 13. The difference was, I was taking lessons from a guy who was, a guitar player in town. It was not super established, but, knew what he was doing to teach. But my acting class I was taking with a guy who was a working actor, whose kids were working actors, and he was my mentor and kind of broke me into the business. I think that had a lot, having somebody help you, steer you along, I think goes a long way. But I already knew that I'd wanted, my intentions, even at a young age, were to be a professional actor. So my approach to the two was completely opposite. My approach to acting was study all the methods, so I had all the tricks in my bag, right?
Yeah.
And because there's variations on method acting, and I'm definitely a method actor. But as a musician, I didn't want to know too much, because I felt if I knew too much, it would kill my songwriting, because I'd be comparing myself to every other song and their chord progressions and like that. So I learned just enough to be able to then start playing up the neck and just started writing. Started writing around 15, and that's what I really love. I love the process of writing. And now that I'm in a band, I live in Savannah now. I moved out of LA in 2018, and there's a really great music scene here. And I have a band, the Courtney Gains group, and we gig several times a month, where I do 70% covers now and 30% originals. Even my covers, I put a little twist on them a lot. But it's so true already. It's already starting to affect my writing.
That's cool. That's cool. I was thinking about Can't Buy Me Love today, and I'm like, okay. I watched it probably about a year ago, and you know what? I remember seeing that movie in the theater. I went to the theater to watch that movie.
39th anniversary was just a couple days ago, actually.
That's crazy.
And a fan sent it to me. That's all I knew. But I know that next year's the 40th, and I was like, got to go out and do, I've done a lot of horror cons and stuff, but I haven't done a lot of just like pop cons. Yeah. I'm like, we got to do something for a Can't Buy Me Love reunion. Got to do something. 40th anniversary. That was a very successful film when it came out. It was the number 3 movie of the summer that year.
Yeah.
So, it was a good, it still holds up. It was a good 80s, a teen rom-com for sure. But yeah, so hopefully we'll be getting some shows next year, and who knows, maybe we can tie that into the band playing too. That's the best of both worlds. And I can go do the band thing too. That's the best. So
that would be cool. And the question I had to ask was because in that movie, which character were you? I was trying to think about it.
I was his best friend, Kenneth.
That's what I thought. You were Kenneth, right?
Correct.
So, and he shit on Kenneth.
I look a lot less clean cut now.
Yeah, which is great. I was like, cool. And yeah, because he shit on Kenneth. That's right. And
yeah, the famous line, "You shit on my house." Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got that out of the way. We don't.
Okay, good.
Let's talk about music. All right.
Sure.
So now your brand new album entitled Liberation Day, a 10-song LP, which I love the fact that it says in the bio LP.
That's right. It's a full record. That for me is exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing. We'll drop on August 24th.
Correct.
Tell me about the album itself, where it was recorded, how long you took to do it, and maybe who played on it. Are there other musicians?
Shoot, I know I'm gonna drop. Mateo, the drummer, I'm gonna drop his name. He works a lot. Kind of names are not my best thing.
That's okay.
So started working on the record probably about this time last year, and was trying to crank it out for the end of the year. I had a manager in New York at the time, and that didn't work out. But we were trying to get him a record to get things going, and so the main person I did everything with is a Peruvian guitar player named Wal Piche. He was in my band here for about a year, and then he moved to Atlanta. So we recorded some stuff here, and then we recorded the rest in Atlanta. But he's a very good shredding guitar player, but he also is a very good engineer and producer. And the main goal of this on the most basic level of this was to make a record that was quality enough to put on the radio. Because I've been putting records out since 2020. I've been putting out records before then, but really been constantly putting stuff out since then. Since I really decided during the pandemic to really make a conscious effort to get my music out there. But they started out like my first one was called Acoustic Gains. It was right. I did it right here, and then brought some people in, and then then I did some stuff with my former band I had in LA for a long time called Ripple Street, and then that was getting better. Then I put out an EP called Safe Haven. That was better, but it still wasn't radio ready, So this record, it's full record, and it's radio ready. Well, yeah. So did recording here and did recording in Atlanta. That's the main deal.
Okay, and you said that you're in Savannah, which is Georgia, right?
Yes, correct. Savannah. That's right. I forget from Toronto. Yes, Savannah, Georgia. So I lived on the West Coast my entire life. And then I could just see the writing on the wall. It was time to get out of LA. And it was a beautiful town. I didn't really know how rich the music scene was till I got here. And that's a big part of what's really allowed me to blossom musically because you can get paid to work, you can get paid to play here, Yeah. So I'm steadily gigging and working on my chops, and working on my act. And so that's been very helpful. That's been very, very helpful because I like writing, but I didn't always like performing. I didn't necessarily. I had bands where I was I had an acoustic band called The Gathering back in LA in the beginning. We had a really good female singer that I did a lot of co-writing with. I could kind of sit in the back, right? But once you start fronting a band, you got to get comfortable being up on stage with that, Yeah. So now I do 45-minute sets a night. There's nowhere to hide, whether I like it or not. Get up there and work, So it's been really good. It's been really good.
Cool. And Savannah's the home of the Bananas, right?
Yes, the Savannah Bananas. When I first moved here, they just played here. They were not this nationally known thing that they are now. And I thought the guy was when I met the guy who owned it, I was like, man, I don't know. And now they're just everywhere. They got 5-6 different teams, and they travel all over the country. They're filling actual, full-size baseball stadiums.
Yeah, I just saw them on TV.
That guy's, he's on, he's on ESPN now.
At Fenway or something. I just saw last
it's crazy
week.
what that guy's pulled off.
I know, it's insane. I was like, wow. And
people here are bummed because it was really it was you couldn't get tickets here. It was always sold out. People loved it. Now they're not here as much. They don't like it, but they're very proud of them.
Wow. Okay, so the first single, the latest single, is entitled, the self-titled Liberation Day, same as the album.
Yeah, that's the latest one. Will be coming out officially in September. I think December 1st we release it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I got the advance on it. So what?
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. What immediately captured me was the guitar tone. It sounds great at the beginning. I loved it, and the feel of the song has this great cadence to it. Maybe you can tell me a bit about the song and kind of what the title Liberation Day, what that kind of means to you and where that came from.
Great question. So yeah, so on this record, just to kind of give another overview, there's a variety of stuff on here. There's pop rock, there's rock, monster rock, which I mean not only monster rock, but anthemy rock,
Yeah.
and then there's one metal song, and there's like
Oh, really? Cool.
two Americana tunes. So on that note, I wrote half the songs, the other half I wrote the lyrics and did vocals on all. The other half Wall wrote. So this is one of the songs I wrote, Liberation Day, and it's I was talking to someone, I was doing another interview, and I was like, I think the difference between like this record and say like a lot of stuff you hear on radios, radio you always hear basically the point of view of somebody who's about 20 years old in their early 20s talking about partying and having sex and living large, and and that's fine, but that's like in some ways I think it's limited to who we are and who we are as artists. I'm obviously writing songs from a much more mature point of view, right?
Yeah. Like how does that appeal to guys our age? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm right. Exactly. I feel like I'm writing because rock and roll is sort of, old in itself now. And I understand that. I'm writing for my generation, and boomers and like that. So I feel like hopefully I'm writing something people my age can relate to and that they'll find interesting. So Liberation Day is really a combination of things. I write from I try to write from just some good acting. I try to come from a subconscious point of view. Don't think too hard.
Yeah.
Let it flow, right? And like what's been percolating back there from news events or whatever else is going on in the world. So I think the first thing was like when Trump did his whole Liberation Day speech with the tariffs. I think that title itself stuck. That was there. So it has some of that in it about being gaslit for sure, right? Like we're living in an era now where whether it's politically or news or calling fake news when it isn't, or now AI kicking in full gear. I think that we're sort of facing this uncertainty, right, of what is real and what isn't. So there's that component in there. And then I think again with age, I think I can't ignore that mortality is upon me, and that time is running short, which is why I'm doing this. Like I know my time is. I've been writing songs since I was 15. I've had bands, but I've never really 100% gone for it till like the last few years. And like this is my time. This is my time. And it's kind of like in the song, in the chorus, I think you got like a bit of a life death thing going on there. And so what it means to me and why I entitled the whole record that is this is my liberation. This is my coming out party.
I love that.
So that's the song.
That's cool.
And I was like, people know I can act. I'm like, yeah, I can act. Now go find out if I can rock. I know the acting bar for a musician isn't that high. That's all good. Just take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, listen to the songs and see if anything moves or inspires you. If you like one song on my record, I would consider that a success.
That is awesome. You know what? It's amazing because I was reading something about that where someone was. It was a quote as I was working on the interview of the getting information, and it said something about your music, and then it said sometimes they don't take actors seriously as musicians.
Right. Sure.
Musicians, but you were in the category with Kevin Bacon, and I can't remember who else it was, of the fact that your music is actually really good.
Yeah, I think it was one of the quotes that I have.
Something like that, yeah.
My Safe Haven record. I got some nice quotes on there. And that was the thing that kept me going. I started putting myself out. I started getting, some decent responses from people. And that certainly let me know I was on the right track. But I don't want to sound arrogant, but I started testing whether my writing was any good a long time ago. And I had an acoustic band back in the late 80s, stuff when metal was happening. And that's why I did it. I said, I think these are good songs. Let's go see if they resonate with other people. And that's the test, right? I mean, of any art ultimately is you have to get it out in front of others.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's paintings. I don't care if it's a movie. I mean, the moment of truth in a movie, you spend all this time making this movie, is when you get it in front of an audience. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters. Just do anything for them, right? It's the exchange that happens. Same thing like putting up a play. You're working on it. You don't know if it's any good. Opening night's terrifying because you don't know if it's going to hit or it's not. So So I already knew I could write, but just getting out lately, putting out more, and getting good responses just kept me going. But that's where I hang my hat, as I say. I always say, like, I'm not saying the best singer. I'm not saying the best bass player or guitar player, but I think I can write a song.
That's awesome. Now something you mentioned, the Acoustic Gains Volume 1,
Yeah.
which I listened to Green Park.
Ooh.
I love the tone, the acoustic guitar tone.
Thanks.
And the vocals subtle, laid back. And is that a side of you musically that you kind of, besides doing like a full band thing and doing this acoustic thing, it's something that you gravitate towards is just picking up an acoustic guitar and.
Well, I believe, I was told, from musicians I knew when I was younger and stuff, that if it ain't got the bones on an acoustic guitar or a piano, you don't got a song.
It's so
true. That's number one. And I started with acoustic guitars, and that's when I started writing. So most of my writing starts with acoustic guitar. Now that I've been playing bass, some songs have been coming from bass, like the beginning riff of opening of Liberation Day, that came from playing bass.
That's cool.
And that just set the tone right away. It can't have this dark mood,
Yeah.
And I just started opening some ideas. But yeah, I come from an acoustic background originally, so that's where I do most of my writing.
My wife and I, a couple of years ago, were in Nashville, and we went to this thing called, we didn't love the Strip because we've just, you know what I mean? It was not for us.
There's great stuff if you can find it off the Strip, but the Strip's terrible.
Yeah. And so we went to a place called the Listening Room.
Yeah.
And bare bones guys doing songs that they wrote for country artists.
Yes.
And playing acoustic guitar and just singing these. And the thing that captured me the most was, you know what? This song is actually better because country music gets a hold of it and they work what they think is magic, which maybe commercialize it where you're singing these songs bare bone and you're like, you're just blown away because you know what? This song, I remember there was one by the Eli Young Band, Skin and Bones it was called, and the writer did that song that day. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with the song. And then not that it was bad by the Eli Young Band, but it just didn't resonate the same to me.
It became overproduced.
Yeah.
That's why I'm glad I have a couple Americana type tunes on there. I have one that's really stripped down with the only song on the record without drums, which is Slip Away, which is definitely a song I'm proud of as a writer. And that one, people are like, what's that about? That's just about, again, like the modern technology, right? It's like the kids are slipping away. I mean, and they are. It's like if you're paying attention out there. I made a movie that I produced and starred in. It's a rock and roll road comedy back in, I think it came out in 2009. We shot it in 2006, and it was about a character via electric shock treatment that gets a message from God that we're becoming too addicted to the technology. Wow. And this is when we had flip phones and we made this movie.
Yeah.
And I play this character named Benny Bliss, who looks like something between Evel Knievel and Elvis. And it all culminates in a vortex in the desert with a band, a live real band. Some really great people are in this band that play with us. Not necessarily super famous, but like the bass player now is the bass player for Bush, Corey Britt, and the guy who directed it. He's a really great keyboard player. He plays with Billy Gibbons' band when he's not in ZZ Top. Cool. He's also a writer-director. The guy's very talented. But we did a full-on show at the end. It was pretty amazing. But that concept has only become more and more true. Now with the smartphones, it's ridiculous. I mean, everybody's just doom scrolling all day long, walking around like zombies. But I sort of wanted to tell the 2 points of view, the point of view of the older people who don't understand what the hell's going on, because we don't. And the choruses are the point of view of the person living this experience, which every generation, the older generation doesn't understand what's going on with the younger generation. And they're like, leave me the fuck alone. I know what I'm doing and you wouldn't understand what I'm going through. So don't worry about it, which is so true, right? I think it's so ironic that the boomers now who, in the 50s, in the early 60s, the hippies got shit on for what they were doing. Now those same boomers are shitting on the next generations, right? The same people who were supposed to be cool ain't being so cool. But I just thought it was like, that's an existential problem we're having in the world right now.
It is.
So it just came through, and I Slip Away, I thought was just like, I know there's other songs called Slip Away, but I thought that was the right freaking title, the right message for that tune. I love that.
I always say, I'm like, we kind of grew up in like the coolest times, but maybe that's because we grew up in it. Like living in the 80s and the 90s, being a kid in the 80s, for me, I'm just like, You know,
I'm just thankful we were, you know, in a generation where you could still just get on your bike and be gone all day. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like that kind of independence, I think builds certain type of character, because you'd be out there and you would run into, you know, problems, you know, that you had to deal with, and there was no getting home. Like say your pants got stuck in your chain, right? And like,
that's
I
right.
remember my pants got stuck in my chain. And I had my friend go steal a knife from the Save On drugstore so he could cut it out, because it was like we didn't have any money. But, you know, he had to get home.
That's so
You know?
true. We had to make shift. Like, how am I going to get home? And what we we didn't have a cell phone,
Exactly.
right?
You know, couldn't go order an Uber to get me home. You know,
No.
you had to figure these things out. And I think that independent spirit is a good thing. And that's again, it's one of the lyrics to Slip Away, that go out and make your mistakes before it's too late. Because I think that now people are so afraid to make mistakes, because if somebody films it, you know, then it goes viral that you're being an idiot, until people are like deathly afraid to do anything.
I know.
And, you know, you can't succeed if you aren't willing to fail. I mean, you fail more than you succeed. I mean, that's just the way it is. I always tell people, you know, they found a place in the universe where it sort of spits out life.
Yeah.
90% of it fails, maybe more.
Well, I mean,
You know,
when you think about it, when you put it, we're getting back to the Savannah Bananas in baseball, to make the Hall of Fame, you're unsuccessful 7 out of 10 times.
correct. I tell that story a lot too. Jeff Kent, who's the best, I think was still the home run hitter for second base, and played for San Francisco and then played
Loved
for the
him.
Dodgers.
He was a Blue Jay originally.
Okay. So they asked him, well, you know, he's doing an interview, and they said, what's it like, you know, playing baseball? And he gave the honest answer that no one ever gives. He said, what's it like getting in front of 1 million people and failing 7 out of 10 times? That's what it's like. I was like, damn, like
It's
he
so
just
true.
it, right?
It's so true, though, right?
But if you even succeed 3, you're an all-star.
Yeah.
You bat 300, you're an all-star. So essentially, you know, that's success. But yes, there's more failure than there is success. And I think that I mean, as an actor, my God, you know how many auditions I've done? You know, how many auditions I haven't gotten? You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot more than jobs I've done. I mean, if I've done maybe 150 jobs in my career, I've probably done 2,000 auditions.
That's
maybe
crazy.
More, right?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So and that's one of the things you always tell people, like, if you can't deal with the rejection, don't get in this business, because, you know, you're going to face it. You know what I mean? It is part of the game.
Yeah, and I mean that's crazy to think. 2,000 auditions of 150. Wow. Was there ever one that you thought that you really wanted that you didn't get?
When I was in the game, you know, like, you know, really in the 80s, when I was, you know, in the game, really hot in the game. Yeah, there would. I mean, you'd have 2-3 a year that would just like break your heart that you didn't get. People have asked that before. I would say one of the biggest ones was Mask. I was definitely in the running for Mask.
Really?
Eric Stoltz did. When we saw each other in Memphis Belle, I was like, I got a couple things I got to say, man. That was one of, like, I wanted that movie.
Wow.
I felt I could. I think he did a great job, but I felt I could have done a very good job too. I definitely felt I could have done a good job.
We just recently watched that within the last year, and I don't know if I could watch it again. Because it was so. I mean, it tore the heartstrings, right? You're like,
oh, it's a wonderful film. It's a wonderful film.
Amazing film.
So, you know, when you come across one like that, you want it, because you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So, you know, but then every once in a while you get one of those, and that's also, you know, elating when you know you get something that's special. Like I'd say, like, Memphis Belle was a movie that came out in 1999, did in 89 in England. Every young actor my age wanted that movie. Stars, all of them. Everybody wanted it. And it was like, you know, to get that was a big deal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It was an amazing experience.
Now, I also checked out the Journeyman EP. And I loved the vibe of it. It's laid back. And the title track has a B3 Hammond organ in it. Is that correct?
You're talking about Journeyman, yeah. Oh yeah, that's got a big. You don't. I got to tell you the story about that one. That's
sure.
The story. So there was a CD I put out in 1999, just called Courtney Gains, 1988 to 1999, and it was a compilation of a bunch of stuff I had done with my band, The Gathering, and single things I had done, and the big thing that I did, and that's why I put this out as Spotify as like an EP, was. So my girlfriend and Matt Sorum's girlfriend were best friends. Matt Sorum, the drummer from Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we went up to his house, and she goes, play him a song, play him a song. I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, no, come on. He's like, yeah, man, play something. So I played him that song, and he's like, I like it. You want to record it? I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. So I put this band together, and we recorded, and it came out good, but it needed like a shredding blues rock lead guitar player over the top of it. I knew that. I didn't know how we were going to solve it. He knew it too. A couple weeks later, he calls me. He's like, hey, man, Slash is up here. He's doing your song. Come on up. I'm like, what?
No way. That's so cool.
Oh, it was a surreal deal, right? So I always had heard that he has a bottle of Jack with him. You know, usually lights a cigarette, puts it in the side of the way he's playing, and he has a bottle of Jack. He takes a shot of before he plays. So I literally bought the giantest bottle of Jack that I could find. He already had one, but I bought this giant bottle, and I was just like, "Thanks for being here, man." And it was amazing to watch him. And the engineer was a guy who just came off a Stones record, and to watch those two guys work together, it was just so far above my pay grade. You know, like Slash would just, you know, improvise an idea, and then this guy was, you know, he was very good, and he would listen and he goes, oh yeah, those sounds flat, right? And he like, oh yeah, what was I doing? And then he kind of figured out, and they would just punch in. And, you know, punching in, if you fuck that up, you lose shit, right?
Yeah.
And they just did it for like an hour and just cleaned up the song, just kept cleaning it up. And then when he left, you know, Matt said, you know, if he didn't like the song, you'd have done one pass and he just would have packed up and left.
Really?
I was just like,
that's
wow.
cool. That is so cool.
So yeah, that was an absolutely surreal, you know, one of the highlight reels of my musical experience, because when you watch someone great like that, it looks like they're doing nothing, but they're doing everything, right? They don't even look like they're trying, and it's just magic, right? It's just an amazing experience.
What I loved about that the stuff on that EP was, I almost feel like it almost had like this. It had great groove. It moved really nicely, but it was almost like this Bonnie Raitt kind of thing going.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, she's amazing, but she's laid back, right? She always had that really kind of laid back, like you just kind of can just groove to it. You listen to it and you go, even if you don't know it, it captures you, right?
No, you're absolutely right. That song, Journeyman, also got put on a compilation record with a label a friend of mine had up in Northern California, a former student of mine actually, called Future Farmer. That was more of a college type deal. Had a lot of bands that played South by and stuff. Well, he put it on there, and it ended up getting picked up in heavy rotation in college. Like, people jumped on it. This is like way back in like '92.
Wow.
So it's been around for a while. It's been put in movies. It's been put in a few movies. It just kind of keeps finding its way into the conversation. It's certainly one of the songs I play in my sets because it's got a great story and it's a good tune. So
yeah. Well, you mentioned that you do 70% covers and 30% originals live in your band now.
In what I do locally.
When you do locally. So what would you do?
Because they pay, and that's what you got to do.
I know. I'm a musician.
A lot of tourists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I'm on the road, if it's like to promote the music we're doing, then I try to play as much originals as I can.
Yeah.
You know, I might squeeze in a couple covers for fun, you know.
That's cool.
Maybe open or close it, whatever. But I really enjoy playing, you know, my originals the most. And if I have my druthers, that's just, you know, I would just do that.
I mean, Atlanta, you were mentioning that previously about, I mean, I think of musicians from Atlanta, and Atlanta has its own type of thing. You know, there's different pockets in the U.S. of bands and artists. I mean, you think of the Black Crowes, of course, from Atlanta. And another one is Butch Walker, who I love. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Butch Walker, but
I know the name. I don't know a song if I heard it.
He is a super talented singer, songwriter, producer. It's funny because he started in a hair band, and then the hair band broke up. He was in a band called South Gang. Hair band broke up. He started like a southern. They got rid of the singer. They became a three-piece, and were in a band called Floyd's Funk Revival. And then, so they were doing like this southern rock thing with I think they had a backup singer. Then that morphed into a band called the Floyds, with the bass player's wife was singing as well as Butch. And then that morphed into a band called The Marvelous Three, who had a hit with a song called Freak of the Week. And then he went solo, and his solo stuff is all over the map. But then he becomes a producer who's like producing, like working with Katy Perry as well as Seven Dust. So he is from I think Rome, Georgia, or something like that. So
Rome, Georgia, yeah. That's yeah, a lot. There's a lot of musicians here that came out of the Athens scene, or when REM broke,
right, Athens, yes,
B-52s broke, and all of that. And so a lot of them, when they're their 20s, maybe early 30s, took their shot there. And when that didn't pan, a lot of them came here because you can't really make any money playing in Athens. It's a college town, but here you can.
Yeah.
So a lot of solo artists here who we play out a lot, but there's also bands, but there's a lot of solo artists too. And then also, Macon, Georgia is where, like,
Georgia,
which was kind of put Georgia on the map the most, was because of, oh my God, I'm under pressure. I can never think of names. So we're talking about a huge band, the brothers, the Almond Brothers.
Oh, the Almond Brothers.
And then one of the Almond Brothers, Greg, moved here and lived here until he passed away. So he was here a long time. So there's a lot of that Southern rock pride here.
No, it is
because Macon's only a few hours away, so it was like that was the first band to tell a lot of the guys here they could take a shot at it. And there's a lot of older cats here, guys like in their 70s who never made it big, but they never stopped woodshedding, man, and they're really good.
I love that.
And there's a lot of good music in this town, and I'm constantly amazed for how small a town it is. You're talking like I'm sure it's more when you do the outskirts, like 250,000, like, not a huge place. There is just a ton of musical talent here. And
wow.
it even goes back further. It goes back to all the guy who wrote Moon River. Moon River.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he wrote tons of shit for movies. See, again, when I'm in pressure, it'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah.
He was the first guy to break out here, like a big.
Really?
Like,
that's so cool. Now,
back in the 50s. Yeah.
Now, the question I ask, you living there now, do you think that it has become a product of your music and your environment of where you are now, helping your songwriting?
I think it's influenced it in some ways, for sure. My theory, because I've wondered, like, why is there so much music in this town? And, you can point to things like Athens and Macon as part of it. But, when you talk about places like Muscle Shoals and all that, we always talk about the water. They always talk about the river. Like, that's what it's about, right? Well, here, there's a lot of water around. There's Tybee, which is like 30 minutes to the beach, but we live in like inlets. There's all these marshes everywhere. And even Moon River, the freaking song Moon River is about a river less than a half mile from my house.
Wow.
And it's one of the most famous songs of that era. And it's, so I think it has something. I think that has something to do with it. I think it's this place has something to do with music. I think influencing people to do music, because so many people play music here. It's just like, and I'm talking like all kinds. There's strands of metal that origin from Savannah. If you talk to metalheads, they'll tell you, like, oh, there's a certain type of metal. It came from Savannah. You're like, what?
Really?
Yeah. If you want to hear a wide swath of Savannah, the guy that's been was the guy that really kind of helped me along in the beginning to figure out how this whole place worked. He's a drummer, and he's also a big movie enthusiast, and he also wrote for the paper here for a long time. He just moved back to North Carolina, but he was here for like 20 years. His name's Jim Reed. He was in the baddest blues band in town for a long time. He just put a compilation record together. It was going to start out like 10 songs. One of them was going to be my song Wander and Dream, which it was. But then he decided to just like do the whole thing. It's called Marshes to Mountains. And it was a fundraiser for the floods in North Carolina. And it ended up being like some ridiculous thing, like 70, 80 songs of bands from this town.
What? That's crazy. Wow.
Marshes to Mountains, and it goes to a good cause too.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these people don't play out anymore. Some of them do, but there's a wide swath of music. It's everything from you got jazz in there to metal to pop to rock to punk. It's like everything's in there.
I feel like I need to come down there and play. To move down there and
I'm telling you, this town gets you. It's a beautiful town too. The downtown, this historic district of Savannah is I've traveled a lot. I've traveled a lot with the work in my life. I've been to a lot of places. It's without a doubt one of the prettiest towns in the United States, without a doubt.
Wow.
Because it's all from the 1800s. It didn't get destroyed in the Civil War.
Oh, it didn't.
After they burned Atlanta down, they were coming here and they gave them the keys to the city.
Wow.
And they were sitting on, because this is where all the indigo and cotton and everything was coming out of, right? So this is like a very wealthy place.
Right.
There was $2.5 million of cotton sitting on the dock in the Civil War, worth $2.5 million. So the richest dude like gave him his house. Sherman let him keep half, and they became pals when the war was over. So Sherman made like $1.5 million off of this dude, instead of burning the town to the ground. It's got a crazy history, this place.
That's insane, because when you put that in comparison, you're thinking the Civil War, that amount of money.
$2.5 million worth of cotton.
Yeah, back then it was probably like billions, maybe.
Yeah, and they just felt like they could just torch the shit if they felt like it.
Yeah, that's nuts.
The guy was like, come stay in my palatial 3-story mansion instead and think about this a minute. We can both do something. We can make a deal here.
That is amazing. Wow. Now an interesting point that I was reading about was that you worked with Bruce Kullick and Doug Blair of Wasp on Dreams in the Witch House, a H.P. Lovecration.
H.P. You know who H.P. Lovecraft is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's based on H.P. Lovecraft's story, Dreams in the Witch House. Now this thing, if you're looking for something to find that's cool,
Yeah.
go find that thing. It's insane.
Well, I looked in streaming for some of it,
Okay.
and I was like, I started listening to it. I was like, this is crazy, amazing. Like,
oh, it's ridiculous. There's tons of amazing people on it. This guy named Mike Gallagher put this whole project together. When he came to me, they'd already put out the two LP record, but then he started doing some stuff. He started doing some reboots, and he started doing some extra songs, and he wanted to bring in some recognizable people that'd be interested, like in the horror genre, because that would cross over perfectly. Because H.P. Lovecraft's the godfather of all of that. I knew who he was, but I didn't really understand like how significant he was. So this guy went all out putting this rock opera together. And I remember when I got approached, and I was like, okay, yeah, let me listen to some stuff. I was so blown away by the couple song tracks he gave me that I had to listen to like 4 or 5 times in a row, and I don't do that. I'm not that kind of guy who like likes a song and just plays it to death,
right,
or a movie either. I don't do that. I'm not that guy. But I was just like, what in the hell is this thing? And then it was just a really great experience to be in recording sessions with a Doug Blair and a Bruce Kullick, and again, watch them work. And what I learned the most from watching them work, just like an actor should be, come in prepared.
Yeah.
Time is money. You got to bang through this stuff, know your shit, and know what you need to do, and get in and get out.
Yeah.
And watching those guys work, man, was like, they're pros.
Yeah.
They're pros for a reason. And I don't think people, Bruce Kullick, man, I mean, that dude's, there's some lead work he does in some of these songs. You're just like, he doesn't hit a note that's not bent ever. It's all,
He's such a
and
good
yet it
player.
all works, right? You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
It's like, what? How in the hell? It's beyond hitting notes, It's like, feel,
He's such a great player. I mean, I've been a Kiss fan since I was a kid. Like since I started listening to rock music, that was one of the first things. And then growing up, with more that era of Kiss of the 80s and seeing Bruce.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I got to see him play in a Grand Funk Railroad.
Cool.
He was in Grand Funk for
I knew that.
at least 5 years, and he retired. But I got to see him at a casino with this Mike Gallagher. And so Mike is an interesting. He was an actor, and he did a lot of musicals, and how he got into the whole metal thing. He was doing musicals in like Norway, and then they came to him because all these Norway guys wanted to write metal, but they didn't do American lyrics. And so that's what kind of got that whole bridge going. But he's a really good singer. Now he's in the National Guard in San Diego. And this guy sings national anthems. I saw him sing at Dodger Stadium at the World Series. So this guy, Mike Gallagher, who put this metal rock opera together, he was a professional. So he was singing in musicals like in Norway and like that. And then when he came back to America, he eventually he joined the National Guard in San Diego. But he's a great singer. So they now have him sing national anthems. I've seen him sing at Dodger Stadium for the 4th of July. I've seen him sing Dodger Stadium for the World Series. Like, he's done some really cool shit.
See, I'm just blown away at the fact that you got to go to Dodger Stadium.
That's dude. I lived right next door. When I was a kid, I could walk there from where I lived. I grew up. That's where I grew up in Dodger. I grew up in L.A. near Chavez Ravine. That's where I grew up. That's why I didn't roll like Colors where I played a gangbanger, because I grew up in those neighborhoods.
Wow.
I know dudes who are dead or in jail from all that shit. So
really?
I was like, I have to play there's a white boy in this thing. I have to play it because I know that there's white boys in these gangs. You know?
Wow.
So
that's crazy. That's amazing. I've never been to LA, so Dodger Stadium's on my list, and I would love to see Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, it's old, but they keep trying to spruce it up. But it's just a great location. I mean, especially in Dallas, like it's great. But yeah, no, I grew up on the Dodgers. I grew up back in the '70s on Dodgers versus the Big Red Machine and the Phillies. My mom was a big baseball fan. We go to the games all the time.
That's so cool. So you've seen crazy? Everybody.
I saw that era.
Were you at the Kirk Gibson? Was that at Dodger Stadium?
I wasn't at that game. That was a little further down the road.
Yeah.
But I was at some playoff games where home runs ended games and ran on the field and all that crap.
That's so cool, man. I mean, we had a hard time as Toronto fans last year's World Series with the Dodgers beating us, but it is what it is. I mean, it was
a great series, though.
It was so good. It was so good.
I mean, yeah, you should hold your heads high. That was. There was no lose. As far as I'm concerned, there was no losers in that series.
No, that
was a great series.
Was it ever? And to go 7 games and to have it go how it ended, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was. I mean, I now hope Toronto wins one because of what they showed, in that series.
Well, thank you for saying that.
I feel like Toronto deserves one now.
As you know, being in Toronto, that generally we're a hockey city.
Yeah.
But the Blue Jays have become, I think the Blue Jays have morphed the Toronto Maple Leafs now because the stadium sold out almost every game.
Wow.
Win or lose. And it's been amazing. And the thing was, when they started off this year not playing very well, you want that carryover from the World Series of that feeling of just you wanted to keep that. So
of course.
So like they're losing and you're like, oh no. But now they're starting to
I was going to say, they'll turn it around.
They are starting to turn it around, which has been amazing. Since the trade deadline, the last week and a half, 2 weeks they played some great baseball. So,
yeah, when they get in the playoffs, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I hope so. Now, one more thing. I need to ask about you being in Rob Zombie's Halloween remake.
Yeah.
I have not watched that since it came out, but I've always been a fan of that franchise.
Yes, well, it's that it's that and Friday the 13th are the 2 biggest horror franchises in history.
And then Nightmare on Elm Street, I guess, but those two for sure.
And then it's because those were the 70s too, so it has that on not 80s, even though 80s is definitely a very sweet spot in the horror genre world, but the 70s ones that were in the ones in the beginning, those ones kind of got something else,
Yeah, that original Halloween, I still watch it every year.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
It's and I think the last 3 ones that they did after the Rob Zombie ones, I thought they did a good job on those. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like it's done now that how they killed off.
Oh, they'll keep rebooting it. It's like Superman and Spider-Man. And
You're
Batman.
right.
If there's money to be made, it will be rebooted. They'll find a way.
So were you in the first Rob Zombie one or the second?
Correct.
The first
so
one.
I'm not in the theatrical release. My part got cut out because it's a gnarly rape scene, and when they did the test, the girls didn't like the rape scene.
Okay.
I'm like, I could have told you that for free.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's no
right?
girls gonna be like, I love the rape scene.
No one ever says that.
Right, exactly. So it's in the director's cut.
Okay.
And I think that was probably seen on TV sometimes too or whatever. But yeah, I was it was a small role as a cameo, but it was like, man, come on, it's the reboot of Halloween. Every horror actor wants in on this.
Yeah.
And I was told from somebody I knew who had worked with him that don't get too married to the script. He's going to flow till he believes it. And what was supposed to be like a 1-day thing turned into like a 2-day thing because he kept adding and improving. When you make a movie, they have the little monitors for the director to watch, right?
Right.
And everybody hovers around that to watch the scenes, kind of like watching TV. And especially like, the art department. So they just want to see how the frame looks and how, lighting. That scene, we'd come to him, and there'd be nobody there watching. No, it's the only time I've ever been in a movie, and he would just be sitting there going, "This is really disturbing. This is really disturbing."
Really?
It was that uncomfortable for people. They did not want to watch it.
Wow.
Because it's a gnarly little rape scene.
No, I get it. Yeah.
What's really funny though is I've been in this business 40 years, and when my son was in high school is when that movie came out, and he was a runner. He's on a pretty good, excellent cross country team in Los Angeles, and all his friends saw that movie. It's the only movie any of them had ever seen of mine. They'd all come to me and go, "You're a bad guy. Why would you rape that girl?"
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, I'm sorry, son. And he's like, "It's fine, man. I don't mind." But I'm like, yeah, they only know me from this one movie.
That's
it's like,
crazy. That's so. Wow. No, just watch Can't Buy Me Love. I'm a good guy. You'll see.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's just what's happening at the time, and how that influences. And so they were all, it was a big movie, and all the kids in high school were watching it. And so
yeah, I think I saw it I saw that in the theater. I had to go see it in the theater, but obviously that scene was cut out. But
yes, so I was replaced with a scene where the guys are transporting him and he gets out. They're all these guys, are all guys that Rob uses all the time. Anyhow, but yeah, so that instead of him getting out of the ward by smashing us, the guys on the ward, he gets out during the transport, which is, I think, how the story was before. So
yeah, it was disturbing, some of that movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah. No, well, Rob has I think the thing, Rob was, not a kid himself, but a horror fan, and so he was making a movie not for kids. He was making a movie for horror fans his age.
Yeah.
He understands who his fan base is musically, and he understands who his fan base is as a director, and it works.
Yeah.
He's got a real brand about him, that works.
My only disappointment was the Munsters movie. It wasn't what I thought it was. I don't know if you saw it, but
I haven't seen it, though I certainly know the people involved. And it's just, I haven't seen it because I love the Munsters.
I know. And that was the thing, because I loved it.
Like, how can you fuck with this?
I know.
Sacred territory,
I know. It was like, and I turned it on and I was like, what the heck? This is not what I thought.
I don't want to see it because then I don't want to see the people I know and go, I hated it. Like, at least I can play ignorant. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I haven't seen it. Sorry.
That's a good point. Well, Courtney, before I let you go, I thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure. Where can the album, when it comes out, be purchased?
Right. So the record comes out August 24th. And you'll be able to get it on digital outlets, basically, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. I'm in the process of having some cassette tapes made because I just think that'd be really retro cool. But if you want those, you're going to have to come see me at a show. Okay. And I'm starting to get out and start touring in September. So it's going to, people might be able to find me. But yeah, that's going to be you're going to have to get the swag in person kind of deal is where that's at. I love that.
You know what's funny? You mentioned these cassettes. My 11-year-old daughter was just down here, and she keeps peeking around because she knew
that's what I was hearing.
Yeah,
I was like, "What am I hearing?"
Yeah. So, anyways, she's she just discovered all this like 80s rock stuff.
Nice.
And I'm sure I'm a big influence on that, but anyways,
as you're wearing your Motley Crue shirt.
That's right. Exactly. So anyways, and she comes and watches me play. I am a guitar player in a Bon Jovi tribute band.
Aha, there you go.
So
okay.
That's kind of what got her started on this. And we play all over Ontario, and we...
Nice. What's the name of the band?
Bon Jovi Forever. It's easy to remember, right?
It is easy to remember.
So anyways, so she started coming to watch us, and we took her to see Bret Michaels this past January.
Do you know that he directed me in a film once?
What? Really?
Bret Michaels? Yeah.
Really?
Him and Charlie Sheen produced a movie. It ended up being on USA. Huh?
The Death Row one? No?
No. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. I can't think of the name of it. Like I said, under pressure, I forget these things. But if you look up Bret Michaels, Charlie Sheen, and his dad's been in it too. Martin Sheen's in it. He shot it in Phoenix, Arizona.
She's going to want.
Huh?
She's going to want to watch that now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he has a little scene in it too as an actor. But he's a good guy.
Cool.
Good guy. We had fun.
So she is into. I brought home a couple Poison cassettes like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and so now we're into the cassettes. You mentioned the cassettes. So
yes.
Yesterday I was at the thrift store and picked up a cassette player for the stereo for $10. So,
all right, you give me your info. I'll send you one. How about that?
Sounds good.
I just remember the name of the movie, No Code of Conduct.
No Code of Conduct. Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked with Bret. That is so cool. She's going to love that. She's sitting right here, actually, now. She just heard me say that. So
he's a very nice, charming guy. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
I've seen him before, too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done. I'll send you one, man.
Oh, that'd be so cool. We'll love that. We'll play it upstairs on the $10 cassette deck. It was dual. It was dual cassette and everything. So if I had blank tapes, I could make a copy.
That's right. You could go the mixtapes, man. That was a thing back in the day.
It was
your mixtapes. If you you're just showing the movies. If you love it, you'd like a girl, you give her a mixtape.
I was just gonna say, I made this for you. And you'd be all nervous. You're like, I hope she likes it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
a lot of work to make a mixtape.
It was. I mean, you had to think about what songs, and
and you had to play them.
That's right. That's
nowadays, you put your Spotify playlist together. How much work is that?
It's not the same though. You know what I mean? It's not the here. I made this for you on a Spotify playlist and send it to. I don't know. It just doesn't have the same effect.
We're of a generation of physical copies of things. This generation, it's all digital. I kind of think digital is the kiss of death. Even though, of course, right now we're using a digital medium. I understand that it's not past me, but I think the digital is the kiss of death.
I'm with you, and the fact that her being 11 with the cassettes now is, I love it.
That's awesome.
So it's good. Anyways, man, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Been a pleasure.
Okay. Have a great night. Take care.
All right. You too.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.